Hi, this is Erin from BlossyB. Welcome to my channel. The plan for this video is pretty simple. I just want to sit down and draw and share with you some updates. And I've wanted to make this video for several weeks, but I just haven't had the courage to until now. But I feel like today is the day. This video does get a little bit emotional, and if you don't have the capacity for that at the moment, I totally understand. I would either just not watch this one or mute the sound and just hopefully enjoy some therapeutic drawing and watercolour painting. I've got a little watercolour book art journal, and I've been trying to sketch in this every day and then use watercolour paints. And I'm not an artist. I'm really struggling with this, but I've just been trying to make time every day where I sit down and just have a pencil in my hand and I just start drawing whatever comes to mind. And then I use watercolour paints, and then I usually finish it off with some markers. So I have had quite a few big changes in my life over the last few months, and they have left me in a very vulnerable, emotional state, all of these things. And I am getting amazing help. So late last year I had a pretty horrific incident at school which left me very shaken and very just I really just was overtaken with what has now been diagnosed as a type of a PTSD. So the result for me with this has been that my brain and body pretty much shut down completely, and I found it very difficult. Actually, I found it impossible to continue going to work, and so I ended up having to get medical help, and I've got a wonderful doctor, and she supported me to go through the workers' compensation process. So in Australia, if you sustain an injury at work, whether it's a physical one or a psychological one, there is provision for you to heal and get well and be supported by your employer to, get back to work in a healthy and safe way. I'm not at that point just yet. They think it might take, a bit more time. And I'm very lucky I've been able to get some amazing treatment, and I've also had the luxury of time. But during this sort of recovery process, things deteriorated with my mum. And if you've been with me for a while, you know that Mum is my best friend. She lives about 4 hours away from me, and she's 88. And about mid last year, her health deteriorated to the point where it was no longer safe for her to live at home. And it was very, very difficult to make the decision to help her move into residential care. And it's a decision, in fact, that I'll regret for the rest of my life. And it was never the right thing for Mum. she was just so familiar with her surroundings at home, and she had the most terrible short-term memory, like a goldfish. And so any change in routines or things where she'd build up a sort of a muscle memory, it was just too much. And so over a period of a few months, she just declined so rapidly in the nursing home and had several falls, which meant that she was pretty much bedridden. And whilst there were some, a few positive times, overall it was pretty awful. And things sort of, there were ups and downs, and unfortunately the doctor at the nursing home is very much all about just keeping older people comfortable, and I really didn't like that. I've always been a fighter and, want the best for mum, and unfortunately, just a combination of physical and emotional and, age, and yeah, so we realised things were, getting pretty bad. And so my sister flew over and Jack and I drove up, and we realised as soon as we saw her that this was the end. And yeah, so we stayed a couple of nights. The first night was just, all there chatting and everything. And then the second night I went home back to where we were staying for dinner, and then came back at about 10 o'clock maybe, or 9 o'clock. And I thought, oh look, I'll just rearrange the room a little bit and I'll snuggle down. And by now mum was unconscious and just in a very sort of a heavy, like a sleep. And so I laid next to her, holding her hand. And then in the early hours of the morning, she took her last breath and died. And so that was the end of an era. Since my dad died nearly 20 years ago, I've supported mum to maintain her independence, and, she was just such a funny, well-loved, clever, smart cookie. And in the next few days afterwards, or actually a week or two, I scanned in lots and lots of photos of her, and all sorts of interesting documents that she kept. She had a very interesting life and was so loved by so many people. And I organised a celebration of life, and we had a lot of people come, and we had so much fun, and there was way more laughter than tears, and lots of memories shared. And I'd put together this like I've had people say it was like a documentary. I was so lucky because mum wrote her entire life story herself, 26 pages of it, and she finished it probably about 10 years ago. And so her memories went back to when she was about 3 or 4 years old. And so I was able to use her words and photos to sort of let people know about her life. And all of us learnt so much we didn't know. And yeah, there was a huge amount of love in the room. A lot of people couldn't believe that she'd lived to 88 because her main diet was cake and bread rolls and toast. And yeah, but she managed to get to 88 and 88 years, and I'm not even going to think about the last year. I'm going to concentrate on the others that came before, because she was a wonderful mum. Anyway, it's been a hard time, and it's been really months since I've done any creating anything. I just haven't had the mental capacity, or I haven't had any sort of get up and go. My get up and go's got up and gone. But I mentioned I've got some wonderful support, and I've been trying to do little things every day and teaching myself how to do some watercolour painting and sketching has been extremely therapeutic. And I love having this little art journal. It's just cotton paper art journal from Kmart, and a little watercolour set, and I just sit down and I just draw whatever's in my head. I didn't know I was going to draw mushrooms today, and they just came to me, and they are not perfect. They don't need to be. They aren't realistic. They aren't anything. They just, it is what it is. It's me making a mark on paper, and spending an hour or so just watching something come to life. But I wanted to thank you all, because really you're what has inspired me to get back. Creating things and sharing them is such a big part of who I am. And oh, it's so funny, whenever I'd show Mum one of my videos, she'd be like, what? She couldn't get her head around that. No one in my family really has been very creative, not, for the last generation or two. And yeah, she was always just so shocked at things that I'd made, and she was very supportive of that. And I've realised that making these videos has been huge ongoing therapy for me, and I've felt the absence of it from my life very much. I'm wondering how everyone is. I'd love to know, how are you? And I want you to know that if you're going through anything too, I'm here. My capacity is increasing all the time. I do have, a few steps backward every now and then. That is the nature of the trauma-based psychological injury that I'm dealing with. And I think, though, that getting back into routines, I'm missing teaching so much. It's just like an ache that won't go away. Missing everything about school, apart from obviously the type of situation that triggered this in the first place. But the therapy that I'm having is supporting me to work through that, and I have to be positive that this isn't how my life is going to be. Yeah, so I've got so many resin projects waiting for me. The boxes from Resin Molds Box, Ella generously sends me every month. They've just been piling up, and I've got orders that I made ages ago that are just sitting in bags. I've got so much to do, but I really strongly felt that this video had to come first. I haven't been around on YouTube for so long that I wanted to, I guess, give you an explanation. And I hope, look, I know the nature of YouTube is that I'm probably making this for nobody because, if you sort of have any time away from YouTube, I think you sort of get penalised. But I want to, start sharing my creations again, and I want to interact with you, and I want to make tutorials that are fun and interesting and help other people. I think I'm missing that the most. I've been helping mum for nearly 20 years and, helping kids at school for 10 years. And so there's, a couple of big aspects of my life have changed so much. And if I could even, claw back a little bit of that wonderful feeling when you can, share things with others, I think it can only be positive. And yeah, so I hope you enjoyed, watching these little mushrooms spring to life. And just to finish, I wanted to thank you for inspiring me to keep creating and for being there for me. Just the fact that you're watching this video means the world to me because it means someone's clicked play and I'm very grateful for that. And I'm going to attempt to get my next couple of videos out fairly quickly, as some of them are time sensitive. And yeah, and then I'm just hoping to get back into more of a rhythm of creating, making and sharing. Thank you again, and I really appreciate being able to be in a safe space to tell you about these little updates. I look forward to seeing you in my next proper video. Bye for now.